talking a little bit about technology and going into the meaning of the podcast, that is talk about the future of work. Have you seen in maybe in the last 10 years, 5 years, anything that is changing, that the technology that is available today, maybe since social media is going to be like 20 years that we have social media, no? And like 30 years we have internet. But have you seen or have you noticed something that it's making it more easier or more difficult, especially for women to start their business, their entrepreneurial journey?
No, actually, I think it's easy, right? I think if you're about your business and you're diligent, right, then you can partner with it to make it more easy. And so when I talk about positioning yourself to scale, and I'm talking about the automations and I'm talking about the delegating, you can create automations within your business, but you can also delegate, right, AI in your business. And it's so that you don't have to put your hand on everything. Some of the mundane things that you typically would have to do or hire somebody for, you can create things so that it's now in place. So now you just become a person that reviews it, so the person that does it, so that it frees you up, right? And so, but that comes from you being well versed in what it is that you do, an expert in your fields. Not only do you know how to create those, you know how to give instructions to the people that create those, but then you know what to expect on the other side. I think it's a really dangerous thing when people want to take it to, you shouldn't allow it to think for you, right?
Mhm.
I think you have to have a mind of your own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it shouldn't be the creative. You should be the creator. But I definitely think it's okay to partner with it in order to leverage, right? So that you can recoup time, especially at our age, and so that you can scale, right? And so I think that's definitely necessary in today's time. I think the people who refuse will be the people that will find themselves not quite figuring it out. I know here in America, under the new administration, the government has been like devastated in a way. Like I know people who got laid off in the government, right? I know people who left voluntarily in the government as well. And so it's been a huge debacle, right? But I think the people who um, have a different, who have multiple streams of income, who are set up to be an entrepreneur, they understand their profession, their expertise, and they've come up with creative ways to make money outside of relying on someone else. I think will be the people that thrive and make a difference. And so I tell my mom, I even showed my mom how to use AI. I'm like, hey mom, I need you to, you know what I mean? Because I
Yeah.
feel like it's my responsibility to make sure that everyone is leaning forward that's around me, right? So I don't gatekeep. Not even my clients, I don't gatekeep because I think there's more than enough out here for all of us, right? And so I think that's like the huge difference. I think the people who are afraid of it are the people who haven't taken the time to learn and haven't taken the time to educate themselves, which is almost it's almost like ironic. And this is the information age, and so much
Yeah.
information that's out there. So much free information is out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And regarding that, even here, that things are a little bit different than in the United States. Our leaders, the presidents, prime ministers of the Scandinavian countries, are starting to talk very seriously about that the old model of go to school, find a job, work, and retire. It's over. It's
Yeah.
the new model is going to be go to school, work, re-educate, work, create something, work, develop yourself, work a little bit more, and die. It's a constant pursuit of personal development and sources of income. It's
Mm.
it's the actual future that they are starting to see, and that the tools that we have at hand now, like you just mentioned, no, it's our responsibility to learn
Yeah.
how to use it. We cannot start giving this world to the younger generation just like that. No, we also have to do our part and start educating ourselves in all these new technologies and learn how to do good and how to provide for our families and communities, etc. And now that we are talking about this, is there any transformation you would like to see in in your case in the US, that you would like to see in the coming 5 to 10 years about the job environment, the work environment becoming maybe easier, faster, more agile, some new services? I don't know.
Would I love to see? Absolutely. With all of the restructuring of everything, what I don't hear is restructuring of the education system. I think that's necessary. Gun violence prevention, which is near dear to my heart because of my brother's situation. I think that starts in the home, but also starts in the school system and it starts in the medical system. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. It's unfortunate that America is plagued by so many things that doesn't make sense for it to be such a developed nation, right? And so I think the true fix to most of it will be putting in controls in education and things like that that will change the generations to come, but we can't change it from the top. We're going to have to go back and change it from the bottom. And so I believe strongly in restructuring all of those pieces. The job market is the job market. In the past, we were not competing with other nations as strongly as we are now because everybody's online and everybody's accessible. And so you don't know who you're going to come up against. And you're looking at, your courses and your classes and what you've been taught and your scoring and things like that. And then you're thrown into a job market and you're like, you sink or swim, which is which is not ideal. But also I think there's an onus to teach entrepreneurship, right? Because I think everyone should be an entrepreneur. Yes, I said it. Because it's just not enough to rely on someone else to take care of you and your family, to provide benefits for you and your family based off a skill set that you think is valuable until it's not, right? And so you need to have more than one iron in the fire, so to speak, to make sure that you're okay and to decrease some of the issues that we do see as far as impoverished families and homelessness and, food scarcity and all those things. I see it. I've been serving the community since 2018. And unfortunately, I see some of the same families every year who need coats and school supplies and Thanksgiving dinners and gifts for their children. And it's like, okay, where are we failing as a nation? Because it's okay to need some help one time, right? But when the same families need help every year for almost 10 years,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, how can we fix this? And what does that look like? Right. And so it's dealing with those challenges from a root perspective and not a symptomology perspective that we can see change. So I know that was long. I'm sorry, but
No, it's it's
yeah.
it's perfect. It's perfect and resonate because it's something that it's happening everywhere, and especially like you said that when you work in some social projects and you see the same faces coming back maybe year after year or every 2 years or something. It makes you think what is happening here. What's the problem?
Mhm.
Because you know that they are good people working to help those people, and that there's money going into the projects and it's not sticking at the end. No, is some work to do still to make a real a
Yeah.
real difference. No? And now that we are almost at the end of the conversation, I would like to ask you almost the last question. What will be Chanda's advice for the women, entrepreneurial women that are listening the podcast and that they are thinking into maybe start something because they are maybe want an extra source of income, or maybe they feel that they can give something else, something more, or like you said, they want the independence, the time to be with their family, with their kids.
Yeah.
What will be your advice to them? Practical advice.
Very practical is YOLO. You only live once. So let's get started. Let's go. Figure out what the thing is that you want to do. Don't overthink it, right? If your thing is baking cupcakes, then let's bake some cupcakes. If it's sewing up socks and knitting things, then let's do that. Also, if it's running high end meetings or being an engineer or creating things, let's do that too. So don't put off for tomorrow what we can do today. We only get one life to live, so live.
Thank you very much, Chand, especially because this podcast that it's called The Future Was Yesterday, that's precisely the idea, no? If you want something, you should have started yesterday, no? It's the future is not going to wait for any of us. And the last question for you for today is, if you could have the power to change things, as you were mentioning, and you started to talk a very important topic, that it's the education of kids, for preparing them for the life, and hopefully for entrepreneurship. What is something that you will do if you could have this power? to change the education system or the way how kids are educated now?
One thing I would do,
Yeah.
honestly, I would probably start in like pre-K to kindergarten. Why there? Because the imagination is so broad and vast, right? And one of the things that companies pay us for now is what innovation and creativity. And creativity is the thing that most businesses thrive on. Is how do I do this bigger, better, right? What is my unique value proposition? We make it sound all glamorous with the UVP, but really it goes back to being curious and exploring our creativity and our imagination. And so if I had the power to reconstruct the education system, I would start incorporating business concepts and ideas at the pre-K to 5-year-old level. Not anything that, had to shake anything, but something to plant a seed so that as they went out through the grades, then it would start to morph and change and form into something that could be great, right? And leaning into those things in those areas where the children thrives because they have a passion for it and they liked it, then they would naturally build upon it, right? And lean into it. And those are some of the things I think that we miss out on, unfortunately.
When that change started, please call me. I would love to work with you and start sowing seeds to the new generation.
Yeah, I think that would be amazing. My grandson is 7 and he loves building things already. And so I think he's going to be an amazing engineer. Every time we're on a plane, it's the oddest thing I've ever seen. He's been invited to the pilot's cockpit at least 6 to 8 times. Like every single time he's on a plane, he's so attracted to it. Like if there was ever such a thing of, I'm not one of those people that's big on manifestation, right? But it so attracts him. Every single time he's up on a plane, they invite him in. And I have pictures of him toying with don't touch that button. They're explaining everything to him in the cockpit. And he's so enamored with, putting things together and understanding outer space. And he's 7. So imagine if we take that just curiosity and we lean into it and we grow it over these years so that it becomes something amazing instead of like he's in a regular school system and then like he's a little ahead. We put all this energy into him because we have other children. And so a little bit of that leaves every time he doesn't get to explore it. And so I lean into it, of course, because I'm grandma. So I'm always saying, but imagine if all of our children had that opportunity, if they had this unique curiosity about something. And so we leaned into it and we explored it with them so that it could grow. Like imagine the world we could create.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
That really, if we want a wonderful world, we need to build it. We need to
Yeah.
dream that wonderful world and then work for it, build it.
I agree.
Thanks for watching until the end. Tell your friends about it, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Oh, or watch one more video. And if you'd like to learn more, you can find the whole podcast and other episodes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Links in the description.